Fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. What do these words mean and how do they affect us? My name's Eric Feltus. I'm a life coach who helps gay men make friends, build confidence, and free themselves from shame. And if you've ever reacted without feeling like you have control over your reactions, in other words, if you've ever reacted and then paused and thought, why did I just act that way? Then this video is for you. But before we move on, go ahead and like this and subscribe for more content. And if you need additional help with this, that's what I'm here for. Click the first link below to set up a free 10-minute call with me to see how I can help you. Today, we are going to talk about the 4 trauma responses. We're going to break down the science, explore how trauma shapes our patterns, and I'll guide you through some self-reflection questions that might help you to change how you see yourself and the world around you. Let's start with the basics. When we're faced with stress, conflict, or perceived danger, our nervous system kicks into survival mode. Most people know about fight or flight, but there are actually 4 core responses, and they're all designed to keep us safe. The problem, though, is that they're preventing us from living. We'll get into that in a minute. Let's first talk about the 4 F's. The first one is fight, confronting the threat. Think about yelling, controlling behavior, arguing, or becoming defensive. Fight says, I will overpower this danger. So that's fight. The next one is flight, escaping the threat. This could look like running away, literally, or mentally checking out. Overworking, distracting yourself, avoiding conversations. Flight says, I just need to get out of here. That's flight. The third one is freeze, shutting down or going numb. You might disassociate, zone out, or feel paralyzed. Freeze says, if I do nothing, maybe the danger will pass. That's freeze. And the last one is fawn, appeasing others to avoid conflict. Think people pleasing. This one is often overlooked. People pleasing, over apologizing, ignoring your own needs. Fawn says, if I can just keep everyone happy, I'll be safe. So those are the 4 F's. Fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Which one of these feels most familiar to you? Let us know in the comments. And remember, none of these make you weak. They're adaptive and they're protective. Think about it this way. Let's pretend you burn your hand on the stove once as a child. That fear that tells you to pull your hand back, that's going to prevent you from getting burned again. The problem is this. If you listen too much to the fear, then you're never even going to cook. So how do we find a balance? In order to find that balance, let's nerd out for a second first. These responses come from your automatic nervous system, the part of your body that handles survival without you having to think about it. It's automatic. At the center of this is your amygdala, your brain's alarm system. When it senses danger, it sends signals to either your sympathetic nervous system, sort of like the gas pedal, or your parasympathetic nervous system, which is sort of like the brake pedal. Here's the thing. You don't choose these responses. They happen faster than your conscious brain can keep up, and they usually come from past experiences like trauma. Now, there are so many different types of trauma. There are absolutely uppercase T trauma, real events that are traumatic, but they could also be lowercase t trauma. I think of these as like death by 1,000 cuts. Every time you doubt yourself, every time you got made fun of as a child, those things add up. If you've ever wondered, why do I overreact to small things? Or why do I shut down when people are upset with me? This is where trauma comes in. So over time, your nervous system starts to expect danger, even when there isn't any. So that friend's tone of voice, that unanswered text, that email from your boss, it feels like a threat. And when you feel threatened, your nervous system responds. The reason I'm going a little deeper into the science than I normally go into is because I need you to know that you are not broken. This is normal. It's science. You're not broken. You've just adapted. And those adaptations helped you to survive. But the problem now is that they might be preventing you from living. So let's take a moment to check in with ourselves. You can journal about this now or later, but I have some questions. Number 1, which of these responses do I notice in myself the most? Fight, flight, freeze, or fawn? Number 2, where might this pattern have come from? What happened in your childhood that caused you to feel you need to lean into this response in order to stay alive? Remember, all of this is subconscious, but when we acknowledge it, we bring it to the conscious, and that's the first step in healing. And the third question to ask yourself is this: how do I feel after I use that response? You don't have to fix anything today. Just notice it. Awareness is the first step in healing. I cannot emphasize that enough. One of my former clients, his name is Tom. He was in a 10-year relationship by the time he came to me. And he said, Eric, nothing is wrong in the relationship. I just feel uneasy. Well, we dug deeper into some of this trauma. And over time, we realized that he lived in a very hostile home. Everything was sort of chaotic and a little verbally violent because of his father. And so Tom told me that anytime it was quiet, he thought something was wrong. It was sort of like the calm before the storm. That is the origin story of his trauma. And so now, today, in his very peaceful, loving relationship, when things feel quiet and easy, he flees, he runs because he thinks he's running from a perceived danger. Now, when he realized that this was irrational and that this response was keeping him alive, you realize that it's also preventing him from living. So by acknowledging where that came from, he was able to mend his relationship with his partner and recognize that quiet and peace is actually healthy and good. And so to recap, and I probably say this in every other video, acknowledgement is over half of the battle. So first and foremost, acknowledge. What trauma response do you lean into, even if it's subconscious? Is it fight, flight, freeze, or fawn? After you acknowledge it, ask yourself, where did I adopt these survival techniques? Maybe consider journaling about them. In doing so, the more you acknowledge, the more you're able to release them and be more present and happy in your life today. Here's what I want you to remember. Your trauma response is not your personality. It's not your identity. It's your body trying to protect you, but it doesn't have to stay that way. By acknowledging it, we can let it go and be healthier. And the more we understand it, the more choices we have. Choices to pause, to breathe, to respond instead of react. So I want you to comment below and tell me which trauma response you notice most in yourself. Bonus points if you can tell me also where you adopted that belief. The next time you see it coming up, pause, take a breath, recognize that it might not be serving you in this moment, and carry on. And if you need any help with this, that's what I'm here for. I'm Eric. I'm a life coach, and I help gay men to make friends, build confidence, and free themselves from shame. Click the first link below if you want to book a free 10-minute call with me. And just know that you are worthy of love and belonging and peace as and because of who you are.